Welcome to another exciting episode of the Epic Entrepreneurs Podcast. I'm Brad Sugars, the Chairman and CEO of ActionCOACH, and today we're diving into the minds of some incredible business leaders, uncovering their real stories, strategies, and the secrets behind their victories. It's not just about success, it's about the journey, the hurdles, and turning challenges into opportunities. So let's jump right into it.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. This is Coach Arthur Rosaria of ActionCOACH Dutch Caribbean from the island of Curaçao. Today, we are interviewing David McLean from Linear Solutions, all the way from Randleman, North Carolina. David, let's start with your top 3 things that made you successful in business and how others can follow in your footsteps.
Yeah, thank you, Arthur. Thank you for having me. I look forward to the time together today. The top 3 things that, I feel that made me successful. And number one, and I think a lot of entrepreneurs will probably be able to relate to this, not afraid of the hard work. Everyone's watched Shark Tank and you hear how they talk about you got to put in your time and all that. And we're all familiar with, the first one in, the last one out type thing. So hard work has always been in my veins all the way back to my youth. And so that's number one, I think, a big part of my success. Number 2 is I care deeply for our employees. As I was building up the company, I also had in mind, how can I be giving back to our community and helping others? And I think for me, luckily, I learned early on, hey, we can do good just by helping the people that are helping us. So for very early on, our employees have been very important to us. So as a growing business, competing with much larger businesses, how do you compete? Well, you can compete salary-wise, but that's not the only thing. So, investing into the employees and benefits and all of that stuff and letting them know you care. And having their back. So for me, I think that's been very important. We don't have much turnover. And I do believe that if you asked any one of our employees if I cared about them and what we do, they would tell you absolutely. And the other is I also care deeply for our customers. Now, our employees come first. So now a bad employee doesn't become ahead of a good customer. But a good employee will always be in the highest priority for us at Linear Solutions over our customers, because we need our employees to take care of our customers. So I feel like over time, by me having the background that I have and in type of, personally through education and what I've done my entire life, is I understand our customers' needs when they come to us, and being able to communicate that with them on the same level playing field that they're on. And not just strictly from a sales point, hey, we got to get this order in. Understanding their need, taking the time, communicating effectively and passionately with them to make them successful in their projects. So I feel those are the top 3 that has made myself and our company successful. And my advice to others would be, understand what it is you're asking your employees to do. If you're going to have employees, understand it, and be specific in what you're asking them to do. Don't expect them to understand the conversation that's going on between your 2 ears. You have to communicate it to it. You got to be able to do it, respectfully, personally with them, and listen to them, get their feedback, but never forget about your customer. You got to have customers to have employees.
Exactly. Thank you. That's a good point. The last couple of weeks, I'm already in group 7 with the 12-week management masterclass that ActionCOACH gives. And it is so incredible to see, including myself, many times as owners, as managers, we think that the employees can read what's between our ears, but it isn't so. So we have to communicate to make sure to be clear what it is that we want, et cetera, because we can't just, bark an order and expect that it's going to be done the way we want it if we don't give specifics.
Absolutely. I have one of my long time employees that's been with me since I would say year 1 or 2, and think the world of him. And he and I can joke and get on to each other like, no one else can. But one day he told me, he came to me, he says, David, you have to understand, I can't understand the conversation between your 2 ears. We have to talk about it. And that's always, I remember that was years ago, and that's always stood out to me. And he was absolutely right. But I reminded him I couldn't understand what was between his 2 ears either.
Yeah, exactly.
So, but yeah,
Yeah, it works
communication.
both ways, obviously.
Yeah, absolutely. So,
And two other things I wanted to touch upon on the 3 points you mentioned. One of them is, be willing to put in the hours, and not being afraid of the hard work. And that's the same as business, as in the movies, in music or whatever. We see the people who've become successful and think they were an overnight success, but we don't see the many hours that they've had to put in to practice and for you to build the company. So to the outside world is, oh my God, yeah, okay, they're a successful business owner, they've done it like that. But I'm glad one of the things that you mentioned is that you have to be willing to make that commitment to do basically whatever it takes, and especially put in the time to get where you want to go.
yeah, absolutely. And it doesn't stop ever. It's just what you're spending your time in changes. Now, yeah, over time you get to spend more time doing other things, but you have to continuously be educating yourself. Okay, now I've got this part taken care of, educating myself and doing what it takes to get the education, even if it means doing it at 1 a.m. So,
yeah. All right. Wonderful. Let's go back to the beginning. What made you decide to get into business, and why this particular business? And if you can explain a little bit what you guys do. You just shared a short video with me, and as I said, I looked at your website as well. What can you tell us how it all started?
well, how it all started, I guess I'll go back to my roots a little bit. I grew up in a farming community on the eastern part of North Carolina. And my father, who was running the farm, and my grandmother have always been great inspirations on my life. My father, hard worker, give his shirt off his back to anyone. So generations of farming, all my family knew. I was the first one on either side of my family to finish college. So, and I was always told early on, hey, you have to be an inspiration to your brothers and others. That was very, very important or valuable to me. My grandmother, on the other hand, she decided, well, about the time I was born, maybe even earlier than that, I can't remember all of that very well, but she decided that she was going to start her own business. We're going to get outside of this farming a little bit. And she started a hair salon, and it was a huge success. I mean, she started it in her backyard. People would walk, miles, I don't know, miles through the snow, uphill, downhill, how the stories would go. But she decided, I'm going to do something different. And so, and then, as growing up, I saw my father doing all the hard, working, dedication to his cause. And my grandmother always encouraged me to think like a business person, and just, she spent a lot of time with me, but she did with all the other grandkids. And that was very important to me. So now we'll jump all the way forward. In 2007, I was operations manager of an automation company, very similar to what we are, except they were much smaller than what we are today. Okay. And I had been the operations manager there for 4 years at this time, and had a newly created board to run the company. And that's great, but I didn't agree in the direction they were trying to take the company. And I would voice my concerns. And anyway, it seemed like I was always at odds with the general manager. So in frustration, and talking with my wife, my wife still is a very successful interior designer. She was working for a major home builder in America at that time, and very successful in her job, had a great income. And she told me, she says, why don't you go do what you're meant to do? I had the financial stability. She was doing very well, and said, if you're not going to do it, when are you ever going to do it? So she basically give me the kick, go ahead and do this thing, quit talking about it, quit complaining about it. So I turned in my resignation and I started Linear Solutions in March of 2007. So what Linear Solutions is we are an engineering-based automation / robotics solution provider for manufacturers. The companies will come to us, wanting to automate a task on a factory floor, and then our team will come together and figure out how to do it, provide an estimate, and then hopefully win the project and then deliver the project to the customer. So it's been a fun ride. And so frustration was basically a lot that led to, and my wife kicking me in the rear to get out and do your own thing. So, and that's how Linear Solutions came to be.
Wow. And yeah, the funny thing is, before we started the interview, we were just talking, and I said how impressed I've been, because I love watching the History Channel, and they have the early entrepreneurs, the entrepreneurs who built America, and how some of them had to automate the things by building the machines themselves. But luckily for people like me who are not, we know how to turn the on and off button, but we have entrepreneurs like yourself who can basically put our dreams into action. So we're thankful for that.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. And I enjoy watching those shows. And I'm always at awe when I go into factories, even though it's systems that we didn't produce, I'm still in awe watching the other ones run. So
in all that time, so 2007, so 17 years, coming on 20 years, that's nice. Yeah. What's been your biggest challenge in the past 17 years, and how were you able to overcome that?
So the biggest challenge has been myself. So I'm an electrical engineer from schooling, and so my entire career outside of the farming has been in machinery producing of some kind. Yeah, it's the only thing I've ever done. And so for me early on, I had to do a lot of it myself. I was on factory floors, programming and qualifying equipment that we built myself for our company. And then, you're bringing on talent to help you with that. But I would say for me, probably for the first 10 years was I'm still doing a lot of it, but trying to manage the company, and we couldn't get that growth. And I used to explain our sales kind of like a sinusoidal waveform. It's up and it's down, and it's up and it's down. We're great.
Brad calls it the seesaw.
Yeah, the seesaw. And it was horrible. It was exciting when you had all this work, then all of a sudden, oh crap, I don't have any work, and then on and on and on. So myself was the biggest problem there. And I would say when we started working with our business coach, the number one thing that we decided to tackle was a team, and slowly creating that team. And I have 100% confidence in the team we have, and that has been what has been the biggest thing of getting out of that challenge, is creating that team to where I can be focused on sales and more revenue towards the company and the continual growth. So,
yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that, because many, I think 70% of entrepreneurs, they're as they call the technical expert. They know how to, build the machines, and in the beginning, that's what you do. But then as the company grows, or if you want the company to grow, you need to be doing different things. You need to become perhaps more of the rainmaker and have others that will build the stuff. And it's a choice you make. And you saw the different tasks that you could choose, and you say, no, listen, I want to grow the company, and that means I have to learn new things. That's very good.
Yeah.
Well, we talked about it a little bit, how did you personally have to grow, or what did you have to do to learn new things to create success? That you read books, that you go to trainings. How did that come about?
That's luckily for me, there was a pesky person that kept calling about, business coaching. So that was a huge help. I mean, yeah, I always like to read books, but my books that I always read, it was some, engineering document or, publication or something like that. And that was great. That kept me good in that skill set. And, so basically retraining, how I think has
Okay.
been one of the biggest
More the
things.
mindset.
Yeah. So, Ralston, my coach, he's very patient. He's done a good job with that and in educating me on books to read. And so, yes, I've read a lot of books, in how to, improve myself on a personal level, which I thought was great because it pushes me away from work for a minute. Let me think
Yeah.
about some of the things it is that I want out of life. Do I want to spend more time with my family? Yes, I do. Absolutely. And that's been one of the benefits of having that team. But reading a lot of books has been very helpful. And one of the ones that I recently just finished, it was Rocket Fuel. And that one was very good. So after, going through Rocket Fuel, taking some time to decipher that, qualifying who might be an integrator for our company, giving them secret tests without them knowing about it. And we chose and appointed a integrator the week before BizX. So,
Oh, wow.
and so yeah, it's learned it's been an amazing ride, and just continuously educating myself has been very important in my personal growth.
One of the ways of education, and you just mentioned that's BizX, that was the regional conference for ActionCOACH and ActionCOACH clients that we just met about a week ago in Vegas. How has that been? What did you learn? Why did you go to BizX? What did you learn there?
Well, I jokingly before going said I was going to hang out with my good buddy Bruce, but that was there with me. But yeah, we always have a good time when we get together. But I like the one last year. I enjoy the time being with other leaders of businesses and business owners, and just being able to ask them some questions. Hey, how do you do this? I find that very helpful. Even with the smaller groups that we have here in Greensboro once a month when we get together, I always enjoy that time, and also trying to help others, But BizX this year, I mean, I thought it was amazing, great speakers. And, I left there with the mindset of some of it, hey, we got some things we got to do differently. I got to, like the biggest one for me is that I took away is we got to find a way to increase our social media standing. So I'm not a social media person, but I don't have any problem with anyone with it. But I left that was I looking in the mirror. Hey, you've done these other things to change. You got to find the way to do this one too. So
yeah, for me also a very educational setting. Again, being with other business owners and coaches, and you learn from people in different industries, and hopefully you can share your knowledge that will also help people from this industry. And next year we'll be in Houston, Texas. So looking forward to seeing you, and all you out there listening to us. Hope to see you there probably in the month of September.
Absolutely. Look forward to a great time.
All right. Yes, you just touched upon it as well. The business coach kept asking you how did you meet your action coach, business coach, and how did that relationship start?
It started. I can't remember the individual that kept calling, but I guess the lure was hey, tell me about some of the challenges with your business. And I honestly, at that time, I was trying to get a person off the phone. Well, you can find a way to help me with taxes and get more time. I didn't think anyone would be able to help me with more time. Oh yeah, well, maybe we can. Well, I think we can. You need to talk to this individual. And so, and then Ross reached out to me and came in and visited with me, and we clicked. I mean, he took the time. I kind of felt like the way that I approached some of our customers by taking the time to understand, and he made it personal, and and that from right out of the gate, we click, we mesh well together, and we continuously have. And I immediately, I felt like it was someone I could trust, and started opening up about things that I had never talked to about our company before. So been a very great experience, going on 3 years from now, or 3 years ago. And I will say the Ross's success with me probably has been patience and slowly applying the pressure so that I just didn't freak out and jump off the cliff all at one time. So, but that's pretty much how we got started, and it's been an enjoyable ride.
So what does your business coach, what does he mean to you? What does he help you with?
I joke with him and tell him he's my personal shrink. I can talk with him about things, I don't talk to anyone else about, because, some things you can't talk with employees about because, it could be misunderstood, and, now the world's
like a sounding board in a way.
Yeah. So that's been very helpful. But he, being that he was such in the position he was with a very large company, and him able to scale down to someone so small and, help, hey, because he can, I guess, have a little bit of foreknowledge and in his history, he'd done it many, many years before I have. So it's not anything new to him. And being able to offer advice, well, hey, maybe you should consider. And sometimes it is, well, you should do, this. We've talked about this, and holding accountable. Hey,
accountability. That's a big
are you going to do it, or are you going to continue to talk about it? And I remember one time he told me that it must not mean that much to you if you haven't done it yet.
Yep.
And I hate hearing that. And I like, okay, well, you're right. So, so accountability for myself, I think it has been huge. So.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, and that's the reason I also have a coach, because you many times, certainly at times you know what to do, you just don't do it, and at times because you're invested in your business, you can't be objective because you're emotionally attached to it, and you need somebody else to put the mirror in front of your face. And I don't like hearing those questions. Hey, you've had that on your list, on your to-do list, on your goals for the last couple of weeks. So when are we going to, get this done? And all those little things, when you implement them, they will help you get closer to your dreams.
Yeah, absolutely. And if we'll complete those goals, even as small as they may seem. Hey, now we got to step a little higher.
It's step by step. Yeah. And that's the thing. I in the beginning, before I joined, I was a background in banking before becoming an action coach. It was also, you had a big goal, and dreaming big was never a problem. But how do you have those little steps, to reach those goals that ultimately the compound effect of reaching those goals will help you get closer to your ultimate dream. And for me, it's also been a wonderful journey the past my case 13 years. So final question, what top piece of advice would you give to another entrepreneur listening out there or thinking about starting their own business? What piece of advice could you share based on the last 17 plus years, and also maybe the things that you heard from your father and your grandmother?
Well, hard work, but hard work wisely. Understanding, the area that you need to work the hardest at, to improve or to educating yourself. And I guess the best way I could answer that is, if I was starting another business today, knowing what I know today, the biggest advice I could give someone is surround yourself with a good team. And it's become more clear. I used to hear people say, you don't want to be the smartest one in the room. But for the longest time, I felt like I was. But now I'm glad that I'm not. And the next time, I don't want to be the smartest one in the room. I just want to know how to organize all the pieces and watch it work well together. So surrounding yourself with a great team, it would be my biggest advice with someone, for anyone.
Yeah, and that's the interesting thing. Many times our ego gets in the way because we like in the beginning we it feels good to be the smartest one in the team, but that also limits your growth. So smartest one in the room, excuse me, but that also limits your growth. And being able, realizing that and taking action on that certainly will set you apart and will catapult and make the business even greater. Is just looking forward to the next couple of years. Is it the idea to keep growing this company and or maybe start new companies on the side? Well, which direction do you intend to go?
I intend to go both. Okay. I do want to continue to grow this business, but I do have ideas of trying to start other businesses that can supplement linear solutions. I do have a vision of trying to deliver automation to manufacturers at a competitive price point. And in order to do that, I feel like we have to have either stronger relationships in some of the materials we have to procure. And I have some ideas of how to, get into some businesses in those areas to try to drive down some of the costs to linear solutions so that we can better support and supply, great technology and equipment to our customers. So both for me.
Good. So once again, thank you, David McLean from Linear Solutions, for sharing your insight into business. And we're looking forward to those new businesses you intend to set up, and wish you all the best.
All right. Thank you for your time. It was an awesome experience, and look forward to seeing you at BizX.
All right. Take care.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
And that's a wrap for today's epic conversation here on Epic Entrepreneurs. Huge thanks to our amazing guest for pouring their heart into sharing their journey. If you enjoyed this episode, hit that subscribe button, leave a review, share it, or hit that bell. But until next time, let's make sure you keep dreaming, take massive action, and stay epic.